Hello, welcome to Nostalgia Gape. Today we're going to be discussing my thoughts on Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, the mobile gacha game that has come out that allows you to play, basically, the idea is to allow you to play all of the Final Fantasy VII compilation in one neat package for free. Or, for microtransactions. Okay, so my take on this game in a nutshell, if you just want to hear my main opinion on it, I'll just say now, is that it's a good game. It is better than I expected, and it is basically that package, right? Like, if you took the gacha elements out of it, it is a good way to experience the Final Fantasy VII story. Unfortunately, the downside to that point is that there isn't much of the Final Fantasy VII story on there. There's only some of 7, some of Crisis Core, and some of a new story, The First Soldier, which I think is based off the Battle Royale game that came out a couple years ago, but got shut down. So, yes, I think if they put in some more stuff like Dirge of Cerberus, Before Crisis, Advent Children's story would be very good, I think. And maybe even, like, I've been kind of daydreaming, maybe they could do like a remake one where, I know Remake's like a solid product right now, but like let's say when Rebirth is out for a couple of years or something, maybe they do an alternate timeline version of 7, and it would work quite well because they are kind of separate entities. Other than that, the other mechanics work really well. The game's very grindy, so if you're not into grindy games, I don't know if you're going to enjoy this one. My takeaway from that is, though, that every Final Fantasy game, and not just 7, but all of them, are kind of grindy. They've got grindy elements. So I'm assuming most people are used to that, but maybe not in a mobile product, so I think that's where I've read a lot of complaints about the grind, and I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of my take on that. I was editing this video and just thought I should interject here and just say the grind in this video is actually probably a lot worse than a lot of the other Final Fantasy games, and on top of that, you have to basically, you can get really cornered into a wall, right? So there's lots of systems in the game. There's power points that your like whole team equate to. That's based off individual player character levels and strength points, and then that's also added to with how powerful your weapons are, your materia attacks, and all these materia and weapon things. They can be upgraded and synthesized and broken down, and so everything kind of connects into each other, and you can really get caught into a wall if you don't meet a power rank, and this is, I guess, to get you to encourage you to buy something, I suppose. And while it's not intensely terrible, you can get out of that rut pretty quick. It does exist, and if you're not, what I usually do to get over it, as I said, is I usually just auto battle because I just don't have the time or care to put a lot of time into the game. I just sort of have it running in the background. It's sort of a mindless thing to click, right? And I don't mind those mindless sort of experiences. And then I play the main story and the main parts that I want to play in the events and stuff legitimately, and I enjoy my things that I've unlocked in my events and clothes and weapons, and I do have a fun time with the loop. I do like the loop. I think the loop's quite entertaining. I can see why it's not for everybody. And yeah, so I don't know if this game is meant to be for everybody. Honestly, I think it's targeted towards a certain demographic of people that are either hardcore fans, not into Final Fantasy VII, looking to catch up for the new games like Rebirth and stuff whatnot, or maybe are just into gacha games or mobile games. And I mean, this could be a step up in some ways. I'm not too experienced with them, but yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's good in that way. I don't mind the experience too much. It's okay. More in depth though, I don't really have a lot of experience with gacha games. I played a few of them like Genshin Impact and Tower of Fantasy last year at a very surface level. Like I haven't put much time into them at all. Maybe a few hours, like 5 or something like that. But other than that, I don't know much about it. I know it's obviously a hated market in terms of like gambling elements and stuff like that. But in all these games, they've never been too intrusive for me personally, I guess. That's not to praise the model. I get why it's a dangerous model. It's just that, I played some Fortnite too, I guess that counts. In all of these games, I've never really felt inclined to purchase things like I was in Little Planet, right? Because that game, I was very into the cosmetic side of it back in the day, so I'm not too sure where the criticisms come in and where they end. That's kind of just... So I'm going to try and avoid that topic as much as possible and bring it up when it's absolutely necessary to bring up in terms of how it affects the game as a whole, such as leveling stuff up and making materials and things like that. So Yeah, so the game's really good. The story stuff I want to touch on first is basically, it works like this, right? So you basically get footnotes, or like little tiny chapters, not tiny chapters, little story segments and little story fights inside of these chapters. So for example, 157 currently has 5 chapters spanning all the way to when you get to the world map, which I haven't played yet, and I think personally I'm going to take after I complete that content, and if this game actually opens up to the world map in a linear way where you can actually walk around in the original game, I think that game's going to elevate. Ever Crisis as a whole is going to elevate for me in terms of how much I get out of it, but I don't expect that to happen just based on the nature of this game and how it works. But yeah, going back to that, this game basically covers to that point so far. You can play them with any party member once you've completed them, so that is a cool element I didn't think was very well advertised. So once you've got all your gear, your costumes and all that, you can go back and replay them for, experience points, but also just for fun, because that's the main draw of the game, I'd imagine, is the story content. But you could play, your battle with the Materia Keeper or whatever, I'm not sure that's in this one because it is based on 7, not Rebirth, but the battle with that, or the Airbuster with different characters. You can put Sephiroth in the party because there's like a young Sephiroth playable character from the first Soldier. And that's the other thing, they keep dropping playable characters as they become available into the story. So far Yuffie just became available, is my understanding, in Chapter 5. The story's pretty cool. The areas are my favourite. The areas where you get free control of your character, just like in the original 7, are kind of my favourite. I think the design of the characters are very reminiscent and very nostalgic. I do like how they've tried to kind of take remake elements and put them into like the world and the environments and put them into the original setting, tying it all up in a more modern way. I do think, in a nutshell, it does kind of achieve that goal of bringing the old game into a modern era, and they call this like tagline for this game like another possibility for a remake or something like that, and I kind of get that sense going into the project. Like, it does feel like this is sort of what people wanted anyway when the remake was announced, and in a weird way it's not a fully fledged AAA title by any means or anything like that, but it's more, in line with what the original PS1 game was like. The only criticism there, though, I do have is that the battles are very formulaic. Like, there are some creative things, mind you. There are creative like segments and elements to some of the battles, and that I do respect that and how that's changing as the game goes on. So I feel like they are, as they release more content, they are changing how the game works and how enemies attack. So that is something to note. I don't think this is going to stay like this forever, mind you, but they're very formulaic battles. Like, you get into a battle and you've got to battle a set of like 3 enemies, 3 teams in a row, and you kind of, personally, this is where I sort of like get a bit bored of the game. So outside of story mode, I've set a rule that I'm allowed to put auto battling on just to get XP, because I don't have a lot of time and I don't really care enough for, and I don't have much care for grindy games, right? Like, even in the original games, I don't care about the grind that much. It is rewarding. I do like grinding if I have time to, but I often don't. So like in my recent playthrough of 8, I just sort of skipped past it, and I said I'll come back and get the trophy for the, killing 1,000 enemies and stuff later. Like, I just left it, because I just couldn't be bothered at the time, and 8's an interesting game where you don't actually have to grind, but the rest of them you kind of do, and yeah, I don't know, I'm just kind of going off that lately. So to play some of the story content, you have to be at a certain level, and I guess that's meant to entice you to either pay for it or grind for it, and I do like the idea that you're earning it. Like, it is cool. I do like that draw of it. Don't want to buy it. I just like the idea of this being a freebie. Personally, for me, I like the idea of it being a thing I have beside the main games. So I'm kind of just keeping it there to that. But yeah, I have a lot of auto battling going on for obtaining gear and XP and things like that, and that's what's cool about the leveling up systems in this game. They do have sections where you can earn materials to level up your weapons and materials to synthesize your materials and XP. It's all very organized in a very good way, and I do think it's sort of catered to the player like me who doesn't really want to pay for the game, and I think that's the majority of players here for Ever Crisis. Now, do I think that means the game can't succeed financially? No, not at all. I think there are people that I've read online also, and I'm sure people I don't know about, right, that love the idea of paying for the cosmetics and stuff, and that's completely fine. Like, it's an option. there is a bit of FOMO at play. You get draws like every Gacha game, and you get outfits, but you only have those available for like a month or so, or a season. And yeah, that's obviously designed to make you want to get those outfits. I get that. I don't personally care. I just tried really hard to get the ones that I want, and then other than that, I've missed out a couple, but I did get the Garnet dress for Aerith and things like that, so I've got some, missed on a couple. I don't care too much. Like, at the end of the day, I value what's it's worth to me, and it's just this game. Again, though, Little Planet did draw me in, so maybe if there's something that really is, like, amazing, but, you know, that was kind of like Garnet's dress for me, right, and I don't know, I just didn't really feel like paying for it, I guess. So I don't know what that's about. I don't know where the psychological aspect to that of my brain goes into the play here, but yeah, yeah. I don't think it's too vicious. I think it works. I'm sure others have different opinions there. I'm assuming they cycled back, kind of like Crash Team Racing Remake back in the day, because there's so much content. And the Christmas event had Christmas event 23 or 1 or something. I took a screenshot of it and it made me think, you know, they're going to do the same thing in 24. Okay, I just thought I should take a moment here to talk about the PC port. So, whilst making this video, the PC port came out. And I've been making this video for a while, right? So, I haven't played it as much as the Android version or the iPhone version, but the PC version is beautiful. It is a version that allows you to go up to, I believe, 4K, and the version that I've been playing has like added in lighting and God rays and stuff. I think they're called, you know, like it's kind of, it's just even the widescreen ability, like if it's a bit weird for your screen, you know, I've got an ultra wide screen, right? It has some effects and stuff in the side to sort of like, you get the extra screen, but you know, like those screens where you get what is it, like those power-ups, those limit breaks, or even just drawing, I think, for your controls, you know, have these like effects at the side, and they're just kind of, you know, normal Final Fantasy VII sort of particle effects and stuff. And it's not, I don't think it's there to cover up space, I think it's there just to add some extra flair, because, you know, otherwise there'll be a lot of negative space, right? And the character models are probably the only thing that sort of look a bit jaggy, but in saying that, they look perfectly fine, better than fine, really. It's just obviously a downgrade from Remake, you know, so, but I don't think you're ever going to get that, so if you're going into this game expecting that, I guess that's the problem, right? You know what I mean? I was curious how they were going to, you know, take these models and make them look good and stuff, and they've done a great job. It's fantastic, actually. Yeah, so I think the PC version is really good. It's really accessible. You've got keyboard control. I don't think you have controller support at this point, but it'd be cool to get that. I'm assuming there's a PlayStation and Xbox version of that coming out shortly. So we probably will see in a controller update, I'm assuming. They may as well just tackle that at the same time, I'd imagine. Yeah, so I'm really digging the PC controls. You've got hotkeys, you can reassign the keys. You've got your keyboard controls, you can move around like it's you know, in the story segments and stuff. You can actually move around with your WASD keys and all that stuff. Yeah, so it's a pretty neat little package. And I definitely recommend the PC version if you can play the PC version. Otherwise, yeah, the mobile version's fine. It's more than fine. It's catered to that device, I suppose. I've just had more fun with the PC version, and I'm looking forward to playing more of it. So I thought I should, you know, interject my thoughts on the PC version.